Hey friends, Matt here with Peppercoat Barbecue, and today I'm going to teach you the secret sauce to making a North Carolina style fundraiser type chicken. And by the way, that secret sauce, it's more than just about the sauce. All of us have had fundraiser chicken, whether it is from a fire department, a community center, a church, or maybe just chicken halves in the backyard. But I've had some really good fundraiser style chicken, and then I've also had some that I would have been ashamed to put it in the box and sell it to anybody. Yeah, you know who you are. In this video, I'm going to break down that secret sauce by giving you 6 steps, which is more than just the sauce, to get a really good barbecue chicken in your backyard anytime you want it, or on a larger pit if you're cooking for the masses. Now, I have cooked a lot of chicken. I've been around a lot of chicken being cooked. My uncle had a pit in his backyard. My dad still has a block pit in his backyard. Our church has a block pit that will cook 175 halves at one time. So I've had a lot of experience and been around a lot of people that are really good at cooking chicken. And I want to share the things that I have learned with you. So first, let's talk about the type of grill that you need for this chicken cook. And I prefer charcoal. In fact, if you are going to do this kind of chicken and do it right, you need charcoal. I'm not saying you can't make good grilled chicken on another type of grill. I'm just saying for this type of chicken, you need charcoal. So typically this is made in block pits where you typically have about 2 feet of space between the sand that is in the bottom of the pit and your rack where your chicken is. This Santa Maria grill works out really good for this type cook. If you're using something like a Weber kettle or a smaller charcoal grill, you can still make this chicken. Just make sure that you use less charcoal, and you may have to add more fuel more often along the way. I like to pour my charcoal out in here and get it to where I'm gonna have about 2/3 of the bottom covered. Always leave a little space in the middle, kind of keep that heat towards the outside more, because naturally you have more heat in the middle already. So I'll pour my charcoal out here, figure out how much I need, pile it up in the middle, light it up, and my ideal temperature for this cook is usually somewhere between 225 and 250 on the grate. And so I'm going to be using some probes today to make sure that we maintain that temperature. Once that charcoal gets almost completely ashed over, and I don't let it get completely ashed over, but you can see kind of what it looks like. And if you spread it out when it's kind of like this, then it allows it to ignite that charcoal around it, gives it a little slower burn. But you can see now I'm keeping this a little light in the center, kind of the way we had it set up, because more of your radiant heat is going to come from there, and putting more around the outside edge. And getting ready to put this chicken on. The second thing that I want to tell you about this style chicken is you don't need to brine it. Okay, don't worry about brining your chicken. Don't worry about seasoning your chicken before it goes on the grill. I know somebody's going to flip out. You're going to be in the comments all over me because we didn't brine this chicken. We didn't season this chicken. But your flavor for this style chicken comes from 2 things. It comes from that charcoal, very important. We talked about that already. You get a lot of that flavor. We want to be able to taste that. And the sauce. We're going to turn this about every 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to mop it every time we turn it. We're going to talk about the sauce here in just a minute, but it's important that you don't season prior to mopping this, because then if you're not careful, you're going to get it overly seasoned or too salty in the end. So that's the second thing. Let's move on to the third thing, and let's talk about that sauce. And just as a little public disclaimer to anyone that knows me that's watching, this is not the family sauce. If I give you that recipe, that's the kind of thing that would make me disappear at night, but it's in the neighborhood. I started this recipe with 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, and this recipe will yield about 1 quart. So depending on how much you need, you may need to double this. But 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. Then I added a 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar. I like using balsamic vinegar. It gives it a little depth of flavor, a little bit of umami flavor. If you don't have that or don't want to use that, you can also use more ACV and then just add in some Worcestershire sauce. Be careful if you do add in the Worcestershire sauce. I wouldn't use over maybe a tablespoon per quart of barbecue sauce you're making, because it can get a little funky and overpower your end flavor. Next, you want to add in a 1/2 cup of oil. And I know that seems like a lot, and this is a greasy sauce. But remember, this is not a dipping sauce. This is not a sauce that you smoke with. This is a sauce especially designed to grill this chicken. That oil is going to help to brown the skin. It also helps the pepper stick to the chicken during the cooking process, and you really need that oil in there. I use 2 tablespoons of Frank's Red Hot Original Sauce. You can use Texas Pete. I like Frank's. It is mostly just cayenne, and cayenne gives you that back end heat. You're also going to use 1/4 cup of salt. Now, I know at this point your cardiologist is having a heart attack, but just don't invite your cardiologist over for grilled chicken and you'll be okay. But that salt is going to help render out that skin during the cooking process. And remember, this is a very thin sauce and a lot of it's going to run off. But this is also why I'm telling you, do not pre-season or brine your chicken before you put it on the grill, because it will be way too salty. Add 1/4 cup of black pepper. We all know what black pepper is for. And I added in 1 teaspoon of chipotle, and the chipotle is opposite of the cayenne. Where the cayenne has that heat on the back end, your chipotle gives it a little bite or a little heat in the front. And 1 teaspoon of garlic powder just for a little extra flavor, and that's it. 8 ingredients, bring this up to a boil. Now, some people in their North Carolina sauce, they'll add ketchup, they will add lemon juice. You know, there's a whole number of things that people add. Feel free to adjust this to your taste, but this will be a great base sauce to get you started, and you may find that you don't need to do anything to it. The mop sauce is great, but the 4th thing I want you to know, and the trick to getting great chicken, is the mop sauce will only work if you mop it on the chicken. Now, I'm just going to drizzle this at first because I don't want to get this still raw cold chicken all over my mop. As it gets a little more done, we'll start giving it the business. The 5th part of the secret sauce that I want to give you is to cook by temperature and not by time. Now, I am using my Temp Spike Pro by ThermoPro. There's a link and a discount code in the description if you are interested. But I would recommend that you get some type of thermometer, even if it's just a cheap quick read, so you can keep check on your internals. As far as the ambient, I have tried to stay up to around 225 today. I've had to add charcoal a couple of times. It is very humid out here, and that always affects the cook. And we've been usually in the low 200s today. A good way to tell, if you can hold your hand here for about 7 to 8 seconds, then that's going to get you around that 225 mark. That's where you want to be. This chicken cook actually took about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So you can figure anywhere from like 1 hour and 15 to 2 hours usual. Like I said, today with the humidity, the charcoal just didn't seem to burn as hot, so it took a little longer, but we're done now. We're temping out at 165 in the breast. I checked over here in the dark meat, and it was anywhere from like 182 to 188. So that's perfect. I'm gonna pull these off, and here is step number 6, or part number 6 of that secret sauce. You've got to let these things rest. Now, I'm using a spatula because the last couple of times that I tried rolling them over, they're falling apart. So I'm going to throw them in this pan with a spatula, and I am going to dab some more of this sauce over top of these. I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil, and I'm going to let this set for 30 minutes to an hour. Who am I kidding? This isn't going to make it an hour, but I'm going to let it set. I'm going to hide it from myself for at least 30 minutes. Let all of those flavors kind of meld together. Let everything calm down a little bit. when you're doing this for a group, you're doing a lot of chicken, we always pull it off. We'll pack it in coolers. We sauce it as we're putting in the coolers, so there's a lot of moisture in there. Close those coolers up, and usually you want to let it set for at least an hour. You can go longer than that, but at least an hour just to let everything get right, and that's where your magic happens. So give it about 30 minutes, we'll check it out. But let's take a look. It's been resting here. We're gonna unwrap it. Oh, look at that. All that moisture. I'm gonna get a piece of it out here on the cutting board, and look at this. It's already falling apart. Here, it's just pulling apart. That's pulling the skin off. Let's take this one out. That's already falling apart here. This is a dark meat. This is gonna be my piece. This is what I like. I wanna cut this breast open real quick, just so we can see how much moisture is left in there, what it looks like. I'm just gonna make one little slice here in the middle of it. We'll just kind of pull that back. Yeah, look at that. Oh, nice, juicy breast. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's looking good. All right. I'm gonna get a bite right over here. Look, this drumstick just pulled right out. I'm gonna try a piece of this thigh. No, man. Wow. If I was Pentecostal, I'd dance. Ah, that's good. Oh my gosh, that's good. All right, try that piece of breast right there. So let's see what the boss thinks. This isn't the family sauce either. This is one that I made, so let me know what you think.
That's really good.
This is as good as the sauce we usually use. Can you tell much difference?
I can tell a little bit of difference, but I think it's better. It's better. It's better. It has more of a vinegar flavor, which I prefer.
Okay.
I think it's really good. Less oil, more vinegar, maybe.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, good. It's really nice and juicy, not dried out.
So the chicken turned out fabulous. That balsamic vinegar that I put in there, I think that really made a difference in the sauce compared to the sauce that we typically make. I think that it gives it a little more of a depth, a little more of maybe an umami flavor to it. The chicken, it rendered out really well. You can see the skin here. It just pulls apart, just tears away. So that salt and the oil in there did its job, getting the browning, getting the rendering. Everything just works, just tons of flavor. It's not overly salty with all that salt. It's not overly peppery. It just works out great. So you give it a try. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Let me know what you add, delete, or your favorite sauce. Either way, give it a try. Let me know. Like, subscribe, do all those things. And I'll see you here next time on Peppercoat Barbecue.